Hi, my name is Shelley Fletcher, and this is my Module 9 reflection. The role of assistive technologies in the classroom is to assist the student to help them to speak, listen, perform, as well as other students. Assistive technology is designed to help people with disabilities perform and complete tasks they would not be able to normally. I have had a lot of experience with assistive technologies in the past. I have used Boardmaker to make several schedules over the years. I have had students who have needed pencil grips, special scissors that could be operated by two hands or that could be squeezed in one hand, not by using the finger holes of normal scissors. I have had students who use flex bands around the feet of their chairs or legs of their desks to have something to push on with their feet to help them stay sitting in their chairs long enough to listen to a lesson and then finish the lesson. We have also used Theraputty to strengthen hands and to keep hands busy. In the past, we have also used Velcro or stress balls to help keep hands busy so kids can learn. I have had students who use chew necklaces and bracelets to keep them from biting themselves or others. We have used IntelliTools with a child with cerebral palsy. She loved it, and she would tell us every day what color of clothes she was wearing, and she would type her address and her name. She could not speak otherwise. She would tell us her dad's name, what school she went to, and eventually many other things. We had a math program that worked with it, and she did her math every day. She loved the otter, that was the talking animal that told her she was doing a good job, or no, she had the wrong answer and she ought her try again. She would get so excited when we got her ready for math. But the assistive technology I have used the most day in and day out with students are Dynavox, Vantage, and iPad for speaking. I have had 3 students who are all autistic and could not speak. The first student had a Dynavox that he could push buttons on and it would talk for him. The second had a Vantage and she was able to manipulate it very well to speak for her. The third student also started with a Vantage, but no matter what voice we used to speak for him, he cried and did not like it. We eventually got an iPad to try and bought several programs that speak in a voice that sounds more like a child and less like a robot. And he did really well and learned very quickly how to use it. And now he talks all the time with it. Having a speaking device helped all these kids with more than just lessons that could be programmed into the devices. But it helped them communicate with other students in the class as well. It really opened and broadened their communication levels. They were able to speak to kids their same age, and the kids were, at first we taught them questions they could ask, and then our students would answer with the Vantage or an iPad. They found this regular ed students found it interesting and fun to help with the device and with our students, and they were able to better communicate with the students we had, and it felt like the students shared something and then would come back and say hi and wait for our students to respond, and later those students would speak more to the kids and on their own rather than with us saying, hey, talk to this student or whatever. The regular education students were told at first to wait for a long time for the response, but eventually it would move quicker, and once they knew what they were doing with the devices, our special ed students would talk freely to the kids, and they were very helpful, and I think those are the best devices to have. Now that we have iPads, I think every student with any speaking disability should have them. One application I noticed in the paper that we read was mobility, which includes walking and using stairs, and examples of technologies used for mobility are walkers, wheelchairs, and one that wasn't mentioned was a stander, which we used once a day with our students who were unable to walk for a certain amount of time to stretch their muscles out so they have continued range of motions, and you didn't want their limbs to atrophy, so standing helped with that, and it allows the muscles to elongate and stretch, stimulating new tissue growth and which is needed to catch up their bone growth. Another application is communication, both verbal and nonverbal, so that students can communicate with peers and caregivers. Examples of this technology include message boards, FM systems, and picture boards. It also includes speaking devices such as the Vantage and iPad I mentioned earlier. These devices speak for the child when he or she pushes the appropriate button, allowing them to carry on a conversation with peers and caregivers. A third application is existence. These are functions that are necessary to sustain life. Examples include spoons with larger handles, or even include powered mobility equipment. These can also include sip and puff systems activated by inhaling or exhaling. It can also include a feeding tube, which I had to be trained on to help with some students, or even a braille embosser, which can transfer computer text into braille output, so a blind student can read whatever the rest of the class is reading. A really awesome technology not mentioned is Finger Reader, which is a wearable tool on your finger to help you read. A user wears the device on their finger, then points it at a body or text one line at a time. The small camera on the finger reader will scan the text and in real time read the audio feedback of the words it detects. So it reads the line of a story on a Kindle or other device. I can think of many uses for this, but I had a student once who was so smart and he just couldn't read, and they wanted to hold him back. So I read every single lesson to him, and during free time I read books to him. I read every one of the Harry Potter books available at the time, which were the first 5. He took tests on everything I read to him and then passed with all A's. He went from flunking to passing everything with A's. This would have been great for him. He would not have needed me, and it wouldn't have singled him out as much, to have a person sitting next to him who's reading out loud. He would have, the device reads out loud too, but I think it just would have made him less singled out. There is also Uni, which is a two-way communication tool for the deaf using gesture and speech technology. During a conversation, the Uni will translate what a person says into sign language so the deaf can understand. It then translates sign language to words for a hearing person. There is a specialized camera algorithm that converts sign language into speech. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.